Today we will be starting with our first technical class. I mean semi-technical. I will not go full technical today. This class is designed for people who come from non-IT backgrounds. So if you have learned maybe computer science, electronics, right? So and even for lots of college graduates who might have studied computer science or electronics, some things might not be clear. So this class will kind of establish a basics for all of those in terms of understanding how a company depends on information technology, irrespective of whether it is a technology company or not, how everybody today depends on IT or information technology. And parallelly, I will also establish the basics of what are the different teams within the company that are responsible for managing those things. Okay, as I told, it's going to be semi-technical. If you are not following anything, if you are not understanding anything, do not worry too much about it at this point in time. I am purposefully not going too technical today, and today will be a kind of story that I'll be telling you. So just follow the story, and if you are able to understand the story, you are good. Here and there, I'll be using a few technical terms, and if you don't follow them, do not worry about it, because in the upcoming classes, I'll be talking in detail about every technology. So just give me all good if you're able to hear me and also see the screen, which I am sharing now. All right. So let's begin. So the topic of today's discussion is how does IT, that is information technology, evolve in a company? So to make this interesting, what we'll do, we will build a company together, right? So and imagine company, and we'll see how the company will start depending on IT from day one. I mean, today, I don't think so. You can start any company without computers, right? So for everything, even if you are starting a simple accounting firm, you still need computers because everything happens with computers. Even if you are starting a shop, let's say a retail shop, maybe a bakery, right? So you still need a computer to keep the accounts. So almost all the businesses today depend on computers. Some depend more, some might be less. And let's assume that this is a media company, right? So an advertisement company. Purposefully, I have picked up a company that is non-IT. So it will help us in understanding how when a company grows bigger and bigger, it will increase the number of computer assets and how we will need the help of different IT teams to take care of these computers. So the basics of this class is basically we are trying to media company and we'll start to see how things will grow with our company. So we'll start as a small company, obviously no investment in the early days. So maybe it's just two people in the company, me and you, individually, one by one. Just imagine that story. right? So two people were starting with the print media, like designing banners, hoardings, brochures. It's a very small design company, right? So what do we need? We need two computers, right? So at the very beginning, so as a company, it's a very small company. So we have two computers. We have installed necessary applications like Photoshop, CorelDRAW, After Effects, whatever the design tools required to run the company. We have purchased them and we have installed them. We also have a printer because we want to see how the print comes out because we are a print media. We have to check for the brochures or whatever it is. So we need a printer for that. And obviously today everybody relies on internet. So we have also taken a internet. This is a simple broadband kind of an internet that we take at home because we are a small company. We do not have to go for a leased line at this point in time. It's a simple broadband connection that we take at our houses, very similar broadband connection. So who provides the internet connection? It's the ISP, Internet Service Provider. For example, in India, it could be Jio, Airtel. In US, it might be AT&T. In European countries, it might be Vodafone. So from these companies, we purchase the internet. They provide this one router, right? So as of now, the company has two employees, you and me, and we have a total of four IT assets. You see, one printer, two computers, and one router. All these starts becoming the IT assets of the company, right? So now the question is, who will take care of our computer related problems? Now, before I go there, I just take a pause and ask you, are you following the story so far? We are trying to build a company and we are trying to see how the company will depend on IT infrastructure in the long run. Over a period of time, how the company grows bigger and bigger, and because of which, how the number of computer assets also keeps increasing in the company. Excellent. So most of you are saying yes. Now here, at this point in time, my question is, if one of the computer fails, let's say some computer is having some issue, it is not booting up, will it impact our company? If one of the computer is not working, will it impact our company? It is going to impact, right? So because we're only two people, and let's say if one computer is down, that means half of the production is down. So if you and me are let's say designers, and if my computer is not working and we are only relying on one computer, so that means instead of designing 10 designs, we might only be able to do 5 designs, which means loss of production. So if one computer is down, so we are losing out business, right? So similarly, if the printer is down, again, we are having problems. If the router is having problems, again, if there is no internet, I cannot download some fonts or whatever it is required. So, or send emails and etc. So any IT assets get impacted. So there will be loss of production. So that means it's a loss for the company. So it is important to make sure that these computer assets that we have purchased to run our small company will not face any problems. However, these are machines and machines are bound to, let's say, need maintenance or some kind of upgrades, updates, etc. So we might encounter some problems every now and then. So when such problems arise, who will take care of these computer related problems for us? Now, you see, IT guy, okay? But don't you think that we are too small just to have to take care of 4 assets, can you really hire a dedicated IT guy to take care of these just 4 assets? Does it make sense? I mean, we are starting a business, guys. Let's not worry about the technology here. Let's say, does it make business sense for us to hire a guy for just to take care of? So that means at least worst case, if I pay him 10,000 rupees per month, and he might work only, let's say, 1 or 2 days in a week, because it's not every day that we come with the problems, right? Local computer repair boy. Okay. In fact, that's the way we call it. So what we do is, so we are too small to hire an IT person. So what we do is we sign an AMC, annual maintenance contract, with the same guy who sells us these assets. So whenever, let's say, we purchase, we'll say, boss, ours is a small company, and if we face any problems, we'll come back to you, and you have to help us. So there will be some kind of AMC written, and according to this, the guy will resolve the software issues within 24 hours, and hardware issues within 3 days. This is the agreement that we have with the shopkeeper from where we have purchased, and for this we will be paying him a retainer of $10,000. Again, just take a random number here. 10,000 is too much. I mean, $10,000 is too much, but just for the sake of understanding. So AMC is not, let's say, this guy will not say, okay, fine, I'll come and do it. We have to pay him something called as retainer, so that he will attend our problems immediately. Otherwise, you know how the shopkeepers will treat. Oh, okay, fine, bring the laptop to me. Let me see what it is. Right. So that is not how companies will run. Because if I lose the computer for 5 days, it's loss of work for me. So I want him to take my computer problem seriously. So I pay him money in advance every year, so that whenever I have problems, he will immediately address them according to the service level agreement, SLA. Money and machine. Sure, Ash. So far things are going well. Okay, we are running the company for, like, say, 6 months or 8 months now, and this is how the IT is, and everything is running smoothly. So every now and then we face the problem, and the shopkeeper who sold us the computers is helping us. But over a period of time, we grow, right? So maybe 8 months, 1 year down the line, we are a 20 people company now, and the assets. So within this, we have design team, sales team, finance team, and HR team. Because this company is slowly forming. Now, earlier, you and me, both were designers, and we used to handle all sales related things, marketing related things, design work, print work, what do we call, delivery, logistics, let's say raising the POs, accepting payments, paying tax, whatever things are necessary. Let's say you and me were handling it. But as and when the company is growing and we are getting more and more orders, we need to focus on our core work, which is design. So we want help from other people to take care of, let's say, sales, to take care of, let's say, finance, to take care of all the people who are joining our company. So like this, slowly a company is taking a structure. And overall, we might have around 30 assets like this. If you see, let's say, the only additional thing is this one black color box, and the more number of computers. As many number of people have joined our company, so many number of computers, plus maybe a couple of more printers, maybe a couple of IP phones to make international calls. So all these things are being added. Okay, so this black color box is called a switch, using which we extend our network to support more number of computers. Now here purposefully I have taken a wired connection so that it will be easier to understand. If I just show everything with Wi-Fi, so we will not be able to follow it. So that's why I have just, let's say, maintained all the wired connection. So What is happening right now? Guys, is it the same? Just give me a all good. If you are able to see the screen and hear. Yes, guys, before mentioning that you are not able to hear me or you are not able to see the screen, I strongly recommend you to log out or let's say disconnect and connect again. All right. So at this point in time, now the company is award. Let's say when we go for the renewal of the AMC, when we go for the renewal of the AMC, this guy will say, was earlier you had 4 or 5 computers. You used to call me, let's say, once or twice in a month. And whatever you used to pay earlier, that was good for that. But now you have around 30 different assets. You almost call me every week or even twice every week in order to, let's say, raise a complaint and a problem with your computers. So I will increase my AMC and now you have to pay an AMC cost of $40,000 because you are using my services more often. You have more number of assets, more number of computer problems, more number of, let's say more money to service it. Now here, as a businessman, we'll start thinking. So I pay him $40,000 and this guy comes to me and solves my problems in 24 hours or 3 days, depending on software issue or a hardware issue. Now, what if I add a little bit more money into this and hire a dedicated IT person? Now, you see, the company is bigger now. There are a lot of computers to take care of. It's a good point where we can have a dedicated person to take care of all these assets. Now, because he is one of our employee, he will be able to address problems immediately. We don't have to wait for 24 hours to address the software problem. We don't have to wait for 3 days to address the hardware problem. Maybe there is a problem with the keyboard. He can immediately replace the keyboard with a spare one. Right. So like this, we take a business decision to hire our first IT resources, which is a system engineer. Generally, in small companies, an IT guy or an IT girl. You see, as a business, does this guy, system engineer, will he generate any revenue for me? He's not going to generate any revenue. Ours is a design business, right? So let's say we get more money when we design things and sell it to the customers. But now I'm hiring a system engineer, right? So this guy does not contribute to my revenue directly. However, it is an unavoidable evil. That means we have to have this, otherwise maybe it will not generate revenue, but if he's not there, our company might lose money unnecessarily. Instead of making, let's say, 10 lakhs profit every month, we'll end up making 8 lakhs profit. Why? Because of loss of production. Why? Because of loss of production because of computer problems. And if this guy is there, and let's say if I pay him 1 lakh rupees, so instead of 8 lakhs, I'll get 10 lakhs. That means his cost is covered there. You see how even a non-IT company like a media agency start becoming dependent on IT. All right. Now the company keeps growing. Let's say at this point in time, we are 200 people. Maybe after 2 years, 3 years down the line, we have grown to 200 people strong. Obviously, let's say the assets are also increasing, maybe around 350 assets. So now the IT guy will become an IT team. A small team will be formed to take care of all these problems. Maybe 3 or 4 people will be handling all these problems with 200 employees or 350 assets. Plus, we'll also be having some specialized computers. For example, let's say we need a HRMS tool, human resource management system. So for example, to maintain all our employee details, the contact information, the salary, tax information. So we need a HRMS system. And this system could be accessed by anybody at any time. Somebody might come at 6 o'clock in the morning and he might want to download his salary slip, or he want to download his tax paid maybe form 16 or anything government documents that the company provides. Right. So that means, and somebody might be staying late, maybe at till 8 o'clock in the company, and he might need the access of this HRM system. So what I'm trying to say is that this system should be up and running almost all the time. Similarly, that's why now, because it is going to be up and running all the time, we put it into a separate network and in a separate physical location as well. I'll talk about what that physical location, we call it as a data center. I'll talk about it in a bit. Now let's assume that some specialized computers, which typically runs 24/7, they will always be on. Right, so they'll be put into a special network and in a special location called data center. Similarly, we might want a customer relationship management tool. For example, we have around 80 customers today who are, let's say, some of them are repeat customers. Some of them place orders with us almost every week. So in order to maintain all these things, maybe I want to apply more discounts to people who are coming to us again. So to do all these things, we have a CRM. Again, anybody can make use of this tool anytime. Somebody might need it at 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody might need it at 10 p.m. So again, this also has to run 24/7. A file server, in order to transfer large files amongst our employees or with outsiders, we might need a file server, and then we might need to send emails. All these days we were using Gmail or a public email address, but now we are slowly started forming a company, right? So, and we, in order to look more authentic, we have our own domain. So we might even install a email server. So again, anybody can send emails any time of the day. So we need it to run 24 hours. All these kind of machines or computers are called as servers. Servers. Why? Because they serve the employees. Right? Say HRMS is giving you the HR services. CRM is giving you the customer related services. File server is giving you file services. That means you can store, copy, share files. And email server is helping you to send and receive emails. So email services. So they are providing services to the employees. That's why they are called as servers. And typically servers run 24/7 in a company. Any questions so far? All right. Now, when all this is working fine, you see these black boxes here. Let's say earlier it was 1, now it has become, okay, in fact, Sandarsh, I'm answering the same question now. Earlier it was 1, now it has become 4. Right? So these servers are managed by employer. Yes, the servers are managed by, again, times are changed now. Let's say nowadays everything is on cloud. But I'm just, let's say, trying to relate it to maybe 5, 7, 10 years back. So we used to run all the servers within the company. And HRMS is the application or a server. Aman, let's say, in order to run an application, you need a server. So at the back end, there will be a server. So where all the employees can connect. So it is an application for the employee, but for the IT guys, it's a server. Mahesh, don't worry about understanding what is HRMS or CRM. Don't worry too much about it. So it's basically just 2 servers in the company. Don't worry about the functionality. Aisha, we have come all the way up now. Now we are not 4 assets. Can anybody tell me, looking at the screen, how many assets we have according to my story at least? How many assets we have? 350. Exactly, right? 200 employees, 350 assets now. We are growing. It's been 1-2 years into the company. So 350 assets we have. Good enough. Now, what happens is this black color boxes keeps on increasing, right? So, and this system engineer or a couple of people who are handling the system, they will start complaining that, boss, all this time I'm trying to maintain the network with the help of Google. I'm learning and doing it, but it is getting more and more complicated because we are growing. It is getting more and more complicated to design this. I am encountering a lot of issues because I am not a network expert. My expertise is into systems. I can take care of your computers well, but in order to design your network, which is getting more and more complex day by day, I am not an expert. So either give me additional training, that means invest on my training, or else hire somebody else who knows it. So obviously, as a business owner, we'll think, why create, let's say, single breakpoint? Let me hire a new guy. If I put everything into one guy, tomorrow if he leaves, we'll face problems. So instead of training this system engineer, we decide to hire a guy who is expert in networking. So that's where we'll need a network engineer now. We'll need a network engineer. Again, it might sound just like a switch connecting and let's say and adding more computers, but it is much more complicated than that. So we have to make sure that there are no loops. If there is a loop, the entire network will be down. Forget about just entire network. All the computers in the loop will end up reaching 100% CPU utilization. It's a big problem if there are loops in the network, right? So we need an expert to configure it. So we hire a dedicated network engineer. It will not decrease unless the company is going on loss and we are trying to cut down our employees. And if the company is growing, it will keep on increasing. And is not going to be fixed 350. It will keep on. See, the thing is, a decent company, let's say around 3,000 employees company, will be adding assets every single day. Right, so every single day there will be new laptop joining into the network, or let's say maybe every week they might, or maybe every month they might install 1 or 2 new servers. Right, so or they might replace old servers. So all this kind of activity will be happening all the time. Guys, about my audio problems, about my screen problems, please do not have to raise it. Let's say I do not have any solution for it because the problem will be at your internet side. Right, so my internet is fairly strong, and of course here, let's say I'm running a bigger batch here, but we also run smaller batches, let's say 50 people or so. I typically don't encounter any problems. 99% of the time, if there is some problem with audio or video, it will be your internet speed. So you don't have to raise that. Thank you, Sumit. You'll have to work it out yourself. I will only interrupt if I see at least 30 to 40 people complaining about my audio video. Otherwise, I'm ignoring those comments. Okay. Now everything is fine. Everything is going hunky-dory. The company is good. The profits are good. We are growing. We are a growing company. We are now entered into all other kinds of advertisements, maybe video ads and everything. We are ventured into apart from print media. right? So, and one fine day, what happens is that one of our employee will receive an email, and he thinks that it is an invoice. He thinks that it is an invoice for the payment that they have recently made, or maybe it's an invoice for that he, let's say, or sorry, it's a receipt that he's expecting from a customer, but ultimately it turns out to be a malware. An employee will download a malware and he will open the file and it infects his computer. Now, this malware is a ransomware. Now, what does ransomware do? Again, ransomware is a type of a malware. What does ransomware do? Ransomware will basically encrypt your computer, encrypt your disk, and in order to decrypt it, the hacker will ask you money. Ransomware is one of the most successful attack vectors for attackers today. It is one of the effective ways to for the hackers to make money. So that's why hackers, so ransomware attacks in the recent days are a biggest problem for most of the companies, right? So imagine, let's say I lock your phone and I'll say you cannot look at your uh, photos, or you cannot download them or do whatever it is with your videos and photos, which might be stored from last 2 years or so, right? So, and I'll ask you, let's say, pay money only, then I'll release the photo. And if there are important memories and other things, we will end up paying the money. And now we are talking about a consumer photos. Now imagine a company. A company will be having critical data, customer information, design information, let's say R&D things, right? So employee information, all the data that has been done so far. If this data is locked, so how can I function as a company? Ransomware attacks are so strong that it has brought down companies to their knees. Ransomware attacks are so strong that they have shut down companies permanently. You are hearing it right. Some companies are shut down because they were not able to recover from a ransomware attack. A couple of, I think maybe a year ago, there was a university, 150-year-old university, which actually closed because of a ransomware attack. Can you imagine a university? Of course, let's say there are a lot of other factors also to close it, but because it was not a super profitable university where it was money or to run the university itself, when the ransomware attack happened, they decided rather close it than pay ransom and get back the data. So it's a ransomware attack wherein Lincoln College, probably. Thank you, Hardik. You can Google about it, you will find it. So ransomware attack. Now tell me, if I design a ransomware and you are running a company which with the 200 employees, one of your employees' laptop gets locked out. Okay. Will it be a great problem? If I'm a hacker and you are the company, and if I'm asking you, give me 5 lakh rupees or 10 lakh rupees, only then I will release this computer. Will you pay me 10 lakhs to release one computer? No big deal, right? For a company, no big deal. I mean, one employee computer, okay, fine. We'll ask him to take leave for 1 or 2 days and we will fix his computer in the meantime. And if we have lost some work, we'll just redesign the work. Maybe another 15-20 hours I'll put additional and get the work done, whatever work has been lost. So the ransomware attackers know this. If I just compromise one computer, nobody's going to give me a value as a hacker, and nobody is going to give me the money. So the ransomwares are typically designed to spread within the network. right? So not only does his machine get infected, all the other connected systems, all the other connected systems will also be impacted. That means a whole company will come to a standstill. None of the computers will work. Does it really happen, or are we just going? Are we just giving hypothetical example here? Look for Sony attack 2017. Sony attack 2017, and just put the keyword North Korea. You'll realize that 3,000 people, when they walked into the office to start their work, okay, on a good day, when 3,000 people in an office building, like say as usual, they were logging in 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. When they log in, they were greeted with a message on the screen saying that your computer has been compromised. Everybody, 3,000 people could not work on that day. Now, for a common man like you and me, it might not sound like a big problem. Okay, fine. So there will be some disturbances in the services, etc., etc. Some customers will have some problems. No. Now imagine I have to pay the salary of 3,000 people for 8 hours for not doing anything because it's not their problem. Employees, it's not the employees' problem that the computers are like say hacked. And then I'm going to lose the customer. I'm going to lose the image in the reputation in the market, right? So all these things will happen when there's a attack. So that was correct. That was due to the movie, the interview. It's an interesting story. Please read about it. Ankit says Cognizant also has ransomware attack. Every company, no, I mean, probably a wrong statement. Lots of companies today undergo ransomware attacks. I mean, like say some of them, they will not even come out if the impact is small, so they will not even report it. Let's say only some 50 machines are affected, 100 machines are affected. They're not going to even report it, right? So WannaCrime was a ransomware. Thank you, Kishan. Right. So now, why did this happen to us? Because we were also like a typical businessman. For us, we were only ready to invest money which is going to help us grow the business. Right. So, and a lot of companies actually do this. Security is the least worried thing for a lot of companies because companies do not exist to be secure. Companies exist to make money, to run the business and to make money. That is the primary goal of the company, not to be secure. So a lot of companies ignore security in general and keep focusing on the business. And that's the right way to do it. But however, every now and then when attacks happen, it will bring down the company to its knees. And we also, as a media company, we also learned our lesson the hard way. Luckily, we were big enough and strong enough financially that we were able to recover out of this attack. And now that we have learned our lessons, we want to install some kind of security measures in our company. So what we do, we start installing antivirus. At least let us install antivirus in our laptops, on all the computers. Right. So now in order to configure this, right, so the antivirus will be installed on all the computers. In order to configure this and maintain this, we need a dedicated expert who knows how to handle antivirus. That's where an endpoint security engineer will be required. Now you see, this is the first cybersecurity team that is being formed. Within IT, within the IT infrastructure team, there is now a security team being formed. Endpoint security engineer. Now, do they work with only antivirus? No. Today, the world of cybersecurity is so complex and there are so many tools that we use. So let's say we'll go crazy hearing them. The endpoint security team is not only responsible for antivirus, they will take care of host intrusion prevention system. They will take care of DLP, data loss prevention. They will take care of application control. They will take care of device control. They'll take care of something application called as FIM, file integrity monitor. There might be a web control agent installed. So there might be some 7 to 10 different applications installed on every computer to secure it. That is how we run the businesses today. So to take care of all this, we will have a dedicated cybersecurity, endpoint security engineer. Similarly, we also want to make sure that attacks do not come from the network. So we'll install a firewall, we'll install an IPS. Again, don't worry too much about these technology. We'll be talking about these things in little bit details from tomorrow onwards. I'm just trying to give you an overview picture, like say, so that we know exactly all the parts of what we'll be talking about in the future. So we might have a web gateway, we might have an email gateway, right? So all these are, let's say, network and content security. So to manage them, we need a network security engineer. You see, within cybersecurity, one person or one team cannot handle everything. So we need a different let's say, teams to handle different parts of cybersecurity. Now, if you're thinking about what is the difference between endpoint security and network security, let's say consider a building, apartment complex. Let's say this building will have, let's say, a security guard, a gate, a wall to protect the entire apartment complex, right? So these three factors, the security guard, the gate, and the wall, is designed to secure the entire apartment building, the entire building. Okay, so protect the entire apartment complex. Now, after this, we also have doors to the individual houses. Locks to the individual houses, right? So that can be considered as the host security. So network security is the entire apartment complex security, and the individual doors, locks, can be considered as host security. Now, this is essential because of something, like say, two things. One, somebody might bypass the apartment complex security. That means somebody might convince the watchman, the security guard, to let him inside, right? So, or somebody might jump the wall and come inside. Okay, so to protect from such kind of attacks, we still need to secure individual houses. That's why we have locks on individual house doors. That is one type of attack. There's a second type of attack. That is, what if one of the resident of this building itself is a robber? What if one of the residents itself is a thief? Right. So what we call this in IT as insider threat. Insider threat. That means an employee itself can become dangerous for the company. Maybe he is disgruntled. He wanted a promotion. He's not getting a promotion. He wanted a hike. He's not getting a hike. Or maybe some competitor has made him to join our company as an employee to leak the secret information. So for such kind of things, we need to secure individual. It is not enough to secure the entire network. You have to secure individual computers as well. All right. So going forward, let's say all of this was happening in New York, USA. We're growing. Now, if you see, we're a 400 people company, 700 assets. We have a branch office in Bangalore. Both of these, let's say, networks are connected through VPN, right? So when we have a VPN connection, an employee sitting in Bangalore can easily access a server in New York, and vice versa. It's as if they are all locally connected. It's called as virtual private network, VPN. Again, don't worry too much about the technology. I'm just trying to establish a fair grounds on how geographically distant companies or a company that is geographically spread across will work, right? So through VPN connection. Now, what happens is what we notice is that Even after deploying all these cybersecurity related technologies and hiring the people to configure and maintain it, the attacks continue to happen. The attacks continue to happen. Now, why are these attacks happening? So some of them are happening because of configuration mistakes. Some attacks are happening because of we are using some old vulnerable softwares. We don't have, we have not patched the systems, and some attacks are happening because of human error. Because people are clicking on links, inserting unverified USB ports, so yeah, unverified USB drives into the system, which might be infected. So, in order to tackle these problems, we will form a new team within the cybersecurity called as information security team or information security engineer. A team will be required if it's a bigger company. Now, what is the role of this information security guys? So the responsibility typically says they conduct regular audits. They make sure that, like say, they conduct regular audits and make sure that there are no configuration mistakes or old softwares. Let's say they will also help in drafting the security policies for the companies. How we have to have our password policy, how we have to have our, let's say, patching policy, how to discard the old data or old hardware, right? So how to onboard a new employee from a security point of view. So all these policies, they will help in drafting. They will also conduct user awareness training, right? So because see, some of the attacks happen because of human error. So that means our employees also should be smart enough and, like say, cyber aware in order to avoid attacks. In fact, a lot of companies think that human is the weakest link in the cybersecurity today, because we can have the best of the best, most advanced cybersecurity technologies, and we might have the best people to maintain those technologies. But ultimately, if one employee make a mistake, so it might bring down the entire network, right? So making the users, irrespective of whatever department, he might be working in HR, he might be working in finance, he might be working in logistics, he might be working in a manufacturing unit. Irrespective of all the employees, everybody should be aware of cyber security today. And that's why every company makes it mandatory that every year you have to go through a course where you might, most of the people who have joined, I mean, like say, who are working would have completed these courses, where like say the course will tell you not to click on, not to download the attachments from unknown senders, not to click on any links from unknown senders. If you find anything, any USB drives, report it to the security team. Don't use it in your computer. So etc. etc. All these kind of advices. Don't use the same password. Keep a strong password. So these kind of advices will be given. And these guys are also responsible for making sure that we adhere to regulatory compliance. So if the company has to follow some guidelines, for example, if you are a bank in India, you have to follow the cybersecurity guidelines defined by RBI, Reserve Bank of India. RBI defines the cybersecurity guidelines for every bank. So if you are not following those guidelines, a hefty fine will be imposed. A huge fine will be imposed on you. So we need a team to make sure that we are adhering to all the regulations defined by a specific agency. Like say, if you are holding credit card details of the customer, you need to be under PCI regulation, payment card industry regulation, PCI. If you are an insurance company, if you are a medical company like pharmaceutical, if you are a medical company like a hospital chain, right? So then all your computers will come under HIPAA, HIPPA, HIPAA regulations, right? So like this, there are different authorities that define regulations, and it is mandatory to adhere to those regulations. If we are not adhering, then we'll end up paying fines. So the information security guys will take care of that as well. There are, yes, there are federal US laws, true. Then, even though they were, let's say we were conducting audits were not enough. Now consider a scenario where audits are done once in a quarter, right? So that means we have done the quarter, let's say the audit on end of March, the first quarter of the year. The next audit is scheduled to be on end of June. But however, there is a configuration mistake made in the first week of April. The audit happened in end of March. Within a week, there is a configuration mistake. This configuration mistake will only be identified in the next audit that will be conducted in June. That means the attacker has good 3 months period in order to use this configuration mistake for his advantage, right? So this is where the company started realizing that continuous monitoring was necessary. This is where the company started believing that continuous monitoring is necessary, and the continuous monitoring is achieved by security operations. So this is the team that we will be focusing on from tomorrow onwards. Security Operation Center, which is responsible for continuous monitoring. That means a change is made, immediately a flag will be raised. We will be checking it against whether this is the authorized to change or not. And if it is authorized change, we let it go. Nothing, no problem to report. But if it is not authorized changed, we'll raise a flag and correct it immediately. So whatever is happening in the network, we'll continuously observe it, continuously monitor it. Imagine a SOC team like a CCTV security room. You might have seen it in movies and other places, in malls and everything. There'll be a dedicated security room where the cameras placed in all the corners of the building. All the feeds will be sent to one centralized server, and from the server we'll be projecting it on screens. There might be seven to 10 different screens, which has loaded around maybe 100 or 150 cameras feeds. And there'll be 1 or 2 people who will be watching these screens continuously to observe if anything wrong or bad is happening in any part of the building. You see, sitting in one corner of the building, I can watch each and every single corner of the building. That is physical security operations. Similarly, we do the same thing, but instead of watching video feeds, we're watching logs here. We're watching what is happening in each and every single server. We are watching what's happening in each and every single computer. And based on any suspicious activities, we will raise flags. We'll raise alarms and we'll inspect it, investigate it, and check whether it is real malicious or a normal activity. Again, don't worry too much about it. Yes, it's part of BMS, building maintenance or building management systems. No. So you see, if you compare it to the physical security, there are metal detectors, right? So there are metal detectors. There might be electric fencing. There might be a fence. So let's say all of them will not report to the video surveillance team. Video surveillance team is one team. That's it. They are there to monitor. The metal detector team, they will do their job. The physical access door guys, they're all different teams, just like different cybersecurity teams also. So endpoint security different, network security is different, information security is a different team. They don't report to each other. They all report to the cybersecurity manager, or in fact nowadays even the managers are also being separate. There'll be IT infrastructure manager, then there'll be a GRC manager, then there will be a SOC manager, and who all of these will report to a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. All right. GRC. Depends. Different companies call it with different names. The official name will be CISO and CTO and CIO. Head of IT is also correct, but it will be typically CISO, CIO, and CTO. Similarly, we might also think to, let's say, bring these application development team in the house. So we might need a application team. We might need a database team, and to help people guide to the right teams, we might also need a help desk team, right? So you see, if you recall, what we started was a media company, and knowingly or unknowingly, we have grown up to 1,000 computers as of today, right? And to manage these computers and maintain the cybersecurity of these computers, we are dependent on these IT infrastructure teams. And we will be part of this team. This training is focused on how to be a security analyst within Security Operation Center. You see, the SOC needs to have a little bit of idea about every department. SOC teams need to have a little bit of idea about every other IT department. Why? Because let's take the example of the surveillance. When the video surveillance guy finds that there is something happening on one of the floor, he needs to inform the right team, maybe to lock the door. Door locking is managed by somebody else, but he has to inform them to lock the door immediately. Similarly, the attack might be happening on one of the computer, and we want to stop the attack on the firewall level. So as a SOC team, when I notice the attack happening and I want it to be stopped on the firewall, I will tell the firewall team, I will instruct the firewall team to follow steps or recommendations in order to tackle the attack. Right, so that means we need to be having a fair idea. We don't have to be an expert. I don't need to know how to configure a firewall, but I need to know whom to contact when there is a problem. So should I reach out to the endpoint security team, network security team, server team, application team, right? So like this, I need to have a fair idea about each and every aspects of the IT department. Sure, Sumit, let's not make it too complicated. Red teams, typically, a lot of companies will not have red teams. They will hire penetration testers, let's say on a regular basis, let's say yearly once or so, and they do. But however, it is not a uncommon practice that, let's say, nowadays let's say a lot of companies are using red teams on a daily regular basis. But let's not. I mean, I just wanted to have a basic and fair idea about how company grows, how IT grows, and how the different department grows, and how these each departments are interconnected, how they are dependent in each other for either operational purposes or security purposes. Not report, it can generate an alert, Ravi. If you run, not let's say, yes, even if you run SS, it will generate an alert. Even if you run Nmap, it will generate an alert. tools that we will have demonstrations and lab activities. SOC will be blue team. In cybersecurity, there is a red team and blue. I mean, let's say nowadays they have come up with 100 different colors. There's a yellow team, there's a white team, there's a red team, there's even a black team. So you can just probably Google about it. But yes, SOC team will fall under blue team. We are defenders, right? So blue team means defending team. Red team means attacking team. I'm not the right person to comment on that, Jay. Will AI take over cybersecurity? AI will definitely be involved in each and every single industry, but whether it will take over everything, I doubt it. Right? So, or let's say, at least in not in our career span, never maybe for the next 10, 15 years, it might not happen. But yes, the impact we will definitely see the impact of AI year by year. Umesh, let's say insider threat or external threats, the behaviors will still be the same. The behaviors will still be the same. Even the insider threat, this guy has to do some things which are unusual, right? So only then, let's say, it will be flagged. For example, uh, let's consider a bank. Okay, let's consider a bank, and only the manager has the authority to go into the locker room facility. I'm just making up story here. Let's say that there's a high secure room where only the manager have the access. So only his access card will have the permission to enter. Now, if some other employee tries to swipe his card, what will happen? Will it be accepted? Obviously, it is not going to be accepted. But why is he even trying to scan his badge on the door? Why is he even trying to scan his badge on the door? So an alert will be generated. And then we'll say, let's say, we'll ask him, why did you try it? Let's say, no, by accident, I thought I was going there, here. And we say, if it is a repeat offender, then we'll know exactly maybe he is trying to steal something. Like this, even in companies, we'll have restrictions of permission. Now, what if the bank manager himself will rob the bank? Obviously, it's going to take some time for us to detect it. So similarly, when we have an insider threat being caused by somebody who has privilege, then it will be difficult to detect. For example, the administrator of the company decides to do something harm to the company. He can do it. He will do it. But it might be a little difficult for us to identify it. Maybe we'll get to know about it after a long time. Abhishek, I typically don't, let's say, toggle between technical and non-technical questions, but anyways, let me answer this. Okay, so when we're talking about career, job hunting, job interviews, let's talk about that. Okay, when we're talking about technical stuff, let's discuss about that so that we don't have to oscillate between the two topics. But if you're, let's say, I'm answering it because this is the first time we're doing it. So it is not just about monitoring and managing logs. There are a lot of other aspects to SOC. For example, incident response falls under SOC. Forensics falls under SOC. Malware analysis falls under SOC. Now today, let's say red teaming is also slightly under SOC, or what we call it the purple teaming. So there is a wide scope within the SOC, and then there's also a scope for automation in SOC. So all these areas are related to SOC. Ravindra, that is the expectation that the SOC team should ideally be doing a deep dive analysis of all the alerts triggered before escalating it to the next team or before raising the red flag. But whether every company, every SOC team does that, it again depends on the maturity of the team, maturity of the team members. So it varies from team to team. What are some of the on-demand skills presently in cybersecurity field? Someday I will talk about my journey and what I believe. See, again, I just have, let's say, based on my experience and my ideas and my own limitations and strengths, I have certain mindset or let's say certain thoughts about the industry. So I might not be 100% correct, right? So, but let's say I will definitely share my thoughts on the industry and what I think uh, will happen and how you have to shape your career. I'll be talking about these things. Maybe in the near future, I'll talk about these things, including which is a good field. All these different teams that you are seeing will be different teams, so different personnel, and even let's say, for example, when I say network engineer in large enterprise, it will not just be a one engineer who is handling the entire network. There will actually be a network team. There might be a team of 6 to 10 people who will be taking care of only network in the company. There'll be maybe 5 people team in endpoint security who will be taking care of only endpoint security. So for smaller companies, it might be one person. For large enterprise, it might be actually be a team, individual, dedicated team taking care of one specific responsibility. Yes, in this case, no, we'll be focusing on analysis, we'll be focusing on incident response, we'll be focusing on automation as well. It's not just limited to monitoring. Okay, Neeraj. Sorry, I was on mute for a long time. I was actually answering the scope for SOC versus network security engineer. So I'm not sure when I was on mute. So what I was saying was, let's say network and network security is becoming obsolete. So because of the cloud, because of the intervention of cloud, so the demand for network engineers will go down. Of course, again, don't take me wrong. Let's say nowadays everything is happening because of the software defined network (SDNs). Whatever we used to do with let's say 3 routers and 10 switches in a company might be done without any hardware today with the help of cloud. But you need to know how to code. Manoj, after paying the ransomware, if the attacker does not pay, it happens. It's exactly like a kidnapping case. So after you pay the money, there's no guarantee that the kidnapper will actually leave the person, right? So it has happened in several cases where the victims have paid the ransomware and they have not gotten the data back. Discussing about threat intelligence, we'll definitely take this question then. How many people needed? Let's say anywhere between 5 to 15 people in the SOC team. 5 to 15 people. I know of companies that have more than 60 people in their SOC team. 60, 60. I'm talking about not service-based companies. Service-based companies will have more than 1,005. Let's say even Accenture has a dedicated cybersecurity unit in Bangalore, in India, that has a capacity for 2,000 people. So 2,000 people, a dedicated campus in Bangalore for only cybersecurity. That is Accenture because they are a service provider. So they will be providing services to different companies. But if you consider a typical in-house SOC, the biggest that I know is, or at least I'm aware, maybe there's one bigger than that, is Boeing. Boeing, say, has more than 80 people in their SOC team. Walmart has around 60 people in their SOC team. Walmart SOC, part of Walmart SOC also is in Bangalore. So I mean, like I know this because a lot of our students work in these companies. It's good to have a CA certification, but not mandatory, Ravindra. You need to have a theoretical understanding of attacks. You don't have to be an attacker yourself. Entity data is 1400, okay. There's no easy way to do that, Mageshwar. You have to spend time. You have to sit with people. Even after 14 years of experience, even today when I go to a new company, let's say I'm a consultant, so this, let's say I'll be talking about different companies and different company infrastructure. So we will take 1 or 2 or 3 sittings with the network team in order to understand their architecture. So that's why we always say when we hire a SOC team member, for him to be effective, it will take anywhere between 3 months to 6 months. Even if I hire a person who knows everything about SOC, even if I hire a person who knows everything about SOC, in order for him to be effective in my company, in our company, it will take for 3 to 6 months. Why? Because he also has to understand the company, the business, the different business units, the way the network has been architected, let's say the way the data flows, let's say all these things he needs to understand. He needs to spend time. Again, Ullas, I don't want to discourage anybody. So there are people who have come from non IT education backgrounds. Like I have had the students from civil, mechanical. Let's say I've had people from let's say BCom do it. Let's say last year one lady from BSA Agriculture. She has completed BSA Agriculture. She got a job in Capgemini. So the possibilities are there. Possibilities of getting a job, even if you're not having an IT degree, is there. But obviously, it's going to be a little bit more tougher for you for companies to accept your profile. So you can tackle it by a couple of cybersecurity. Sorry, you can tackle it by having a couple of cybersecurity certifications to show that you're serious about cybersecurity. No, Sunil, we do not have any free certifications for SOC. There is a security SOC analyst certification from EC Council and then CYSA Plus from CompTIA. Both of them are paid. We have SC200 for Azure, the basic security, but it will not cover the entire SOC. I don't know what is malware analysis, but let's not jump to steps here where, let's say, we don't do CH, we don't do CH. Sandy RC, yes, there's a good chance. you will definitely get a job. Let's say again, as I told you, let's say it's not about your education, guys. It's about let's say how you showcase your CV. Your CV is getting shortlisted based on the keywords. So put more keywords related to cybersecurity. You definitely get up. Clear the interviews. It's up to how you have prepared. For the link for the 400 questions is already been shared in the WhatsApp group. I somebody can share it here, or maybe I'll just do it myself. What's the price it's showing in the US for in the for that link? What is the price it's showing in US dollars? 9.99. I see. The price for India should be 399, correct? Yeah. So I did my calculation. I don't know how Udemy is doing it. So according to me, it should be $4.9. Wow. Dollars. But yeah, guys, it depends on which country you are trying to access it from. Udemy is smart in that way that it does. But however, I believe that using this coupon you will get a discounted price. But if you can find it directly through Udemy, no problem. All right. All right. So let me stop here. I will continue the class tomorrow with some. We'll be talking about network security tomorrow. Okay. So do I have all those things? I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me just see. Put those videos.